For sure. Over to Newcastle, Paul. They're looking at Ernest Nuama, a player who's been linked with a lot of different clubs due to Lyon's situation. Do you think they may make a bargain deal happen in January just to get in sort of a right-sided winger, somebody who can replace replace Miguel Almiron at least in the side?
Yeah, listen, if Almiron goes, we seem to talk about this every week, don't we? Almiron going, but he came in I was there for the cup match against Bromley. He came in, his attitude, his application was fine. He's that type of player that you're going to get. You know what you're going to get from Almiron. He's a good, lively player, but there's been talk about him leaving for a long time. We know with the FFP and PSR, and we know how much it grates on my nerves about Newcastle and the fans not being able to grow the club. It gets to me, but that's the type of deal that they're going to have to look at for now. If Almiron does leave, Numa, 21 years, he's winger, plays on the left, can play on the right hand side as well. Not really in favour at Lyon this year. I think he's only played 5 league appearances, got himself on the score sheet once. That type of play with young potential and the fact that they can exploit Lyon's financial situation. And he's not the only player at Lyon. I suspect there's going to be a lot of players that we talk about today and going forward before the window shuts in 11 days' time that teams will be looking at Lyon's team and looking to exploit the financial situation that the club's in.
And Pete, Ryan Cherky is another player from Lyon who they've actually put a price tag on of just around £22.5 million. That's a very affordable price tag for a player who is considered to be one of the best young players in the world right now. Could Newcastle attack this deal in January, be the first to bring him in and the first to make a bid that could really tempt Lyon?
Yeah, obviously, as you said, could be a bargain at that price. Cherky's a real top player. He's been talked about for years and years, ever since he made the breakthrough into that Lyon team, I think when he was 17. Obviously, Newcastle, I'm sure, won't be the only club who might be interested in Ryan Cherky at that price. There's a lot of talk in Germany suggesting Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Leverkusen, and obviously clubs in the Premier League all interested in him. So Newcastle would find it difficult probably to fight off that competition for Cherky. Lyon, although they have put a price tag on his head, I think ideally they wouldn't want to lose him because he is their star man. It does look like they're going to have a bit of money coming in from the deal of Luis Enrique, who's leaving Botafogo for Zenit St. Petersburg, and his sporting rights were owned by Lyon, so that's a big boost to their financial coffers. I think around £33 million. So that will obviously help maybe Lyon in their ongoing situation with their finances and trying to avoid relegation from Ligue 1. But yeah, Cherky's a top player. If he does become available in these last week or so of the window, I think there'll be a lot of top clubs
His contract's up
in the queue to sign him, and that's what makes it a difficult deal for Newcastle to do.
That's why there's talk of that, and I think that's why Lyon have been quite vocal with the fact that they're putting a price tag on him to maybe drum up the interest, because they know he's an asset they can sell. They don't want him going into the last 12, 16 months of his contract. Then the value does go down, but with 18 months left on his contract, he's probably at the peak of the value of the transfer fee they can get for him.
And Paul, do you think Newcastle will look to strengthen this window if they do lose Almiron? We spoke about Lloyd Kelly, another one who's linked to leave. Obviously, we all talk about their PSR and their FFP issues all the time, but if those two players go out the door, do you think their squad would be thin enough that they might need to add?
Well, listen, if players go out, then they'll add, obviously. I don't think Lloyd Kelly's one that Eddie Howe spoke about last week, didn't he? He spoke about him openly. He said, "Look, I've only just got the lad in from Bournemouth. Came on a free. He obviously knows all about him from Bournemouth, and he openly said he's making non-footballing decisions on players because of the FFP and PSR, and that's what's having to happen. But with Lloyd Kelly, I don't think he's given the opportunity to show the manager or the Newcastle fans what he can do yet. He played against Bromley a couple of weeks ago in the FA Cup. League appearances have been few and far between for him. But the manager spoke about his attitude, his application, the way that he works in training, and the way that he was speaking. He didn't sound like it was a player that he wanted to move on. It sounded like a player that he wanted to keep him with his squad. He knows what he can do. He knows what the player's capable of. And when called upon, he feels that he can trust him. So those type of players, unless he really has to strengthen his squad in other areas, I can't see Kelly being one of the ones that's shifted on. Almiron, yes, I can see that. Maybe. I think it's going to be minimal at Newcastle this window. I really do. I think they're going to be minimal transfers. Maybe 1 out, 2 in, or the other way around. But not a lot of action, unfortunately, for what is most frustratingly the richest club in the world.